welcome to the live audio commentary and coverage of Manchester City against Newcastle United from the Etihad Stadium in Manchester. Well, Manchester City's first home game of the new season is being set as a celebration for their historic treble win last season. The Premier League, the Champions League and the FA Cup banners unveiled around the Etihad to commemorate that and to celebrate that with the crowd here tonight. The players in the tunnel and ready to come onto the pitch in a moment or two. Let me just recap today's results, this weekend's results. Nottingham Forest got a 2-1 win against Sheffield United on Friday night. Brentford got a 3-0 victory away at Fulham. Liverpool came from 1-0 down against Bournemouth to win 3-1 at Anfield. Brighton with their second consecutive 4-1 win with their win away at Wolves. And Tottenham earlier this evening beating Manchester United by 2-0. Well, the game that rounds it all off is one that is a mouth-watering fixture. Manchester City against Newcastle. Two teams that were incredible last year in their own right and in their own way. And they match off in an early season face-off at the Etihad. What a time. What a fixture to have as your first home game of the season. Let's have a look at the two sets of teams then, as Manchester City have a debutant in the side tonight. Josko Gvardiol makes his league debut for Manchester City here tonight. In goal, Edison. Back four of Kyle Walker, who's the captain, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias and Josko Gvardiol in defence. A midfield two of Rodri and Kovacic, with an attacking four of Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland for Manchester City. For Eddie Howe's Newcastle, Nick Pope starts in goal. Kieran Trippier, the captain, is at right back. He's joined in defence by Fabian Schär, Sven Botman and Dan Burn. A midfield three of Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali making his second appearance for Newcastle in the league, and Joe Linton in midfield, with an attacking three of Miguel Almiron, Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak in attack. What a attack that is. These two teams have so much quality on show tonight, and we'll be hoping they make an exciting game and a game that is well worth the watch. Kickoff at the Etihad is in just a moment. A very warm welcome and good evening to you watching on LFS this evening to Manchester City against Newcastle, the live coverage from the Etihad. It's an exciting game, one that when the fixtures came out back in June, it was one that caught the eye as an early season drama, a bit of drama. We'll be loving a bit of excitement here tonight. We want a good game, and we want these two teams to go for it, to give their all in this one against each other. We don't want them to, sit back and not take it to each other. I'm sure Manchester City will be going all out attack after their Super Cup win in midweek, and of course the treble win of last season. And Eddie Howe's Newcastle, fresh off a massive win over Aston Villa last Saturday evening. They come to the Etihad in fine form and in probably fine confidence as well after that 5-1 victory over Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Pretty difficult start to the season for Newcastle. I was looking at their fixtures, of course. Aston Villa, the first game, then Manchester City, then they've Liverpool to come next. A first three games that if they end up coming out of unbeaten, it will be a miraculous start to the season for Newcastle, a perfect start to the season if they come out of these three games without defeat. Well, one man that impressed on his debut for Newcastle, Sandro Tonali, scored on his debut for Newcastle last Saturday. We'll be hoping to do something similar in his second appearance and his first away appearance in a Newcastle shirt at the Etihad here tonight, as Blue Moon billows around the Etihad Stadium ahead of kickoff. Our referee this evening is Rob Jones, and Jared Gillett is the VAR. We've already had some VAR drama this weekend. Well, I mean, no one really hopes for VAR drama, but if there's VAR drama, let's hope that they get the correct decision. You know, there was a few silly decisions made last week by VAR, ones that should have been avoided, could have been avoided, but we'll forget about that and get back to the football, as we are almost ready to go here. All players in their formation and set up. The referee doing his final checks as he blows the whistle to get us underway here at the Etihad for this cracking tie between Manchester City and Newcastle United. One that is sure to excite and to impress, and one for everyone to enjoy tonight, surely. Indeed. Well, there's an early injury concern here for Fabian Schär. He's gone down holding his head, so this has brought an instant stop to the game in the first minute. Fabian Schär is receiving a bit of treatment. Just see the replay. He's just getting a header, gets a header onto the ball. He's battling with Haaland, no connection with Haaland, but he just heads the ball, and I think the way he lands kind of takes his balance away from him and makes him a bit dizzy, but maybe he's on his shoulder, something along those lines, but he's getting the treatment now at the moment, Fabian Schär. Eddie Howe having a close look with his team on the sidelines, and the medical staff having a check of his shoulder for Fabian Schär, so we will see what comes of this, but an early stoppage, an early injury concern for Newcastle, something that Eddie Howe will be hoping gets resolved fairly quickly. Well, Manchester City came out victors in this tie last season at the Etihad. Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva with the 2 goals to give Manchester City the 2-0 win back in March. Newcastle held Manchester City to a 3-3 draw on Matchday 3 of last season at St James's Park, in a 3-3 draw. An absolute cracking game that was. Newcastle were 3-1 up at one point, and that was the iconic Kieran Trippier free kick that we all remember was from that game. A sensational game. Good evening to Daniel, good evening to Lisa in the chat, good evening to you, welcome in to the game as we are back underway then for this one, and the ball's all the way back to Edison. Here's Ruben Diaz. City have it at the back. Here is Ruben Diaz again. Down the line to Walker. Taken away from him by Anthony Gordon, who goes straight back to his keeper. And his keeper who gives it straight back to Kyle Walker. Walker back to Kovacic. Rodri. And now to Manuel Akanji. Well, we're expecting Manchester City to dominate possession in this game, control the tempo, have the full control of the game. As expected, City are the home team. Kyle Walker's offside there from that forward ball, so free kick will go Newcastle's way. Where is Stones? I don't know if John Stones is on the bench. He is not, so I am guessing that is an injury of some sort. He was named in the squad on Wednesday night on the bench for Manchester City, but not involved here tonight. I'm guessing that is an injury issue. I think he was injured coming into the season anyway. Good evening, Ron. Welcome into the chat. Good victory over Bournemouth earlier. I have to stay impartial, but yes, a good win for Liverpool to get their first win of the season after that okay result against Chelsea last week. Here's Phil Foden. Gets it to Walker. Here's Rodri. And good evening, Jerry, as well. Jerry, who's been in the chat all afternoon. Welcome in again to you. Vardiol with the cross, gets it to Walker. Back to Rodri. There's one thing about Manchester City. They will not rush to do anything. They will take their time, they will play their football, and they will work the space around you. And we'll just wait until they find the slightest of openings to carve a team in two. It's about Newcastle staying compact, staying in control, and making sure they minimalise City's attacking threat, and especially that man Erling Haaland early on. As the ball from the back there from Dan Burn is recovered by Ruben Dias for Manchester City. Well, we had a cracking match-up between Tottenham and Manchester United earlier. Cracking game that was. One that, honestly, I didn't have a breath for the vast majority of that game. It was electric from minute one. Sensational. And let's hope that we get the similar type of game here today as Tonali looks to break the lines. It was intercepted by City as Tonali works so hard to win it back, but Vardiol does well. And then it was won back by Trippier. Here's Guimaraes. Out to the right-hand side is Tonali. Now Trippier tries to carry it, but the offside flag goes up against Kieran Trippier, and that'll be a free kick to Manchester City. Lisa says Edison had something wrong with him a few weeks ago. Yeah, there was something about Edison, but seems to be okay. Seemed perfectly fine on Wednesday night against Sevilla. Was doing his traditional sweeper-keeper role. Edison, here he is on the ball. In tight spaces as well, he's pretty good. Really, really good goalkeeper. Another poor ball from the back there. Gvardiol with the switch ball to Walker. Walker down the right-hand side. Trying to burst forward. Gives it in fade to Rodri. Rodri out wide to Walker again. City seem to be targeting this right-hand side so far. Just as I say that, they go down the left-hand side. Here's Jack Grealish. Here's first involvement. Plays it to Haaland. Haaland trying to link up with Foden, but in the way there was Fabian Schär, and Joelinton was back too. But City win it back high up. Foden. Rodri. Commanding start from City. Ron says Newcastle win today would be perfect for the league title race. Come on. We've only played 2 matches. There's a long way to go in some sort of title race. And look, many times have we seen it that Manchester City may have a slow start to a season and then just kick into gear at the right time and go on and storm the league still. So there's no guarantees you have a slow start. There's a lot of time to recover that and to fix it as the season goes on and perfect it, as Manchester City do season on season. Here's Grealish inside his own half. Jack Grealish across to Ruben Dias, coming deep there. Grealish quite deep, gives it to Dias. Dias to Walker and back to Rodri. And Lisa says I think Man City 3-1 second time comeback. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it'll be an exciting game nonetheless, I'm sure. These two teams have a lot of goals in them, have the quality. It's whether they both execute that and use that quality and make it count today. Here's Manuel Akanji. Rodri. Kovacic. Who's been heavily involved with Manchester City. Mateo Kovacic, involved in all 3 of their games, their first league game and that Super Cup game and this game. Of course, joined in the summer. It's one that's gone really under the radar as a summer signing from Chelsea. It's Jack Grealish. Rodri. Finds Foden, breaks through the lines. Phil Foden. Linking up nicely with Alvarez. Now Grealish. Grealish in the box looking to strike it. Blocked by Kieran Trippier as Guimaraes tries to win the challenge, but he's lost out there to Alvarez. Manchester City breaking forward there. They looked really threatening, and it was really good defending by the veteran defender Kieran Trippier, getting in the way, getting his body in the way of the attackers from Manchester City and denying them the chance at an early goal. So 9.5 minutes gone, goalless here at the Etihad. It's one of those starts where City have controlled the possession, but not much has really been involved in not much has really been in the game as of yet. Walker, Rodri, Vardiol. Interestingly enough, Manuel Akanji's playing a bit higher up. That's why I was a bit confused there. Rodri had dropped into the defence, and Akanji was playing a bit higher in the more of a midfield role. I spotted that in the week on Wednesday night, more of that role being played by Manuel Akanji, a bit higher up than a traditional centre-back role. That's a lovely ball from the back and just missed control there by Julian Alvarez for Manchester City. Isak picks it up. A nice feat from Alexander Isak to Gordon. Now Dan Burn to Guimaraes, back to Botman. Guimaraes to Nali. To Almiron, who goes back to Fabian Schär. Yvonne says, hello, evening fun, welcome in. All I can see, an eventful 3-3 draw. Love that. I would absolutely love that. You know, I don't really care who wins or what happens, but I want an exciting game. Here's Phil Foden, tries to play through Haaland. Haaland makes the run. Haaland, just a heavy touch from Erling Haaland. Not often you see that. Usually he's absolutely perfect in attack, but just the slightest of heavy touches from Erling Haaland lets him down. It's nice from Foden and Haaland initially. The through ball is beautiful, and Haaland just controls it nicely first time. It just gets away from him eventually and takes the heavy touch that goes out for a goal kick. But a nice move by City, and especially Foden and Haaland there. It's the first real opportunity they've had to try and breach that Newcastle defence, City. Ron's hoping for a Newcastle victory. Nice to see. Well, we have some opposition fans in here tonight. Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans as well. Be interesting to see. Obviously with last season, both Liverpool and Arsenal have history with Manchester City. We'll not get into that tonight. We have Arsenal in action on Monday night away at Crystal Palace. We'll have that live on LFS. City a bit lax in possession again there from Walker, but again as Newcastle try and recover it, Foden just intercepts and gets it back for City. Here's Grealish, Rodri, Kovacic. Nice from Mateo Kovacic. Runs through a few bodies. Kovacic tries to feed it in behind for Haaland, but again Newcastle get bodies in the way as Trippier tries to play it out from the back, and a bit of confusion between the Newcastle players, a bit of a collision between the two of them, and that gives Man City the chance to win it back. Walker, Foden in the box. Phil Foden has to cut it back to Akanji. Akanji from distance hits it over the bar. Alexis Cancelo to Barcelona, breaking news. Interesting. Well, of course, João Cancelo was shipped off to Bayern Munich on loan last January for half a season. Hasn't been in the favour of Pep Guardiola of recent times. It looks like it might be then, as Lisa says there, Barcelona his next destination. Not a bad place to go, is it? To be fair. Ron says Arsenal needs a Newcastle win. You're all getting spanked home and away by City. Those 3 points could be the difference between the title and second place. Yeah, of course. I mean, we won't see the outcome of a result in this type of game towards the end of the season. Um, we won't see the real outcome of Man City win this or Newcastle win this or a draw in this game. We won't actually really see what any of the results mean probably until the latter half of the season when we see the reverse fixtures and we're back at St James's Park for this type of fixture and we'll see what it means then. But yeah, I mean, winning is what matters at the start of the season. Get 3 points and we'll see what happens. Ron says another loan to Barca buy option but no obligation. That's Cancelo. Yeah, fair. So a loan deal. Well, that's actually quite interesting because does it mean that City just don't want rid of him? Because why are they... That's 2 successive loans. If it's 2 successive loans, then to me that's a bit confusing because if you want rid of him, just sell him. But clearly there must be something there. There has to be. There can't be a reason. There has to be a reason why he's gone on another loan instead of a permanent move away from City. That's a bit strange. Manchester City dominating the possession so far, 77% possession in the first 15 minutes here. Not done very much with it so far, but there's a lot of time. And never write Manchester City off, We can never do that. Walker. Diaz. Back to Edison. To Kovacic. Edison again. City playing it out from the back, and that's a lovely ball out wide to Walker. It's Kyle Walker here, the captain tonight. Of course, with the absence of Kevin De Bruyne for the foreseeable future, for the next 3 to 4 months, according to Pep Guardiola. So Kyle Walker has the armband tonight. We did have the armband on Wednesday night and had it on for the vast majority of the game away at Burnley last week. After De Bruyne went off, that's a nice move by Isak, gets it out wide for Gordon who takes on and puts it across and cleared away by Manuel Akanji at the back post. It was a lovely move by Newcastle. Isak fed in Gordon down the left, took on Kyle Walker, put the cross right across the box and was right across and had to be cleared away by Manuel Akanji. Threatening ball. Throw in Newcastle on the left. All the way back to Botman. Now Fabian Schär on the halfway line. Fun says, personally I think he doesn't want to go, but City does. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Well, I mean, we don't actually know the details. We don't know if City want him to go. Pep Guardiola's not happy with him. Clearly, I mean, there must have been something in January for to leave mid-season. It must be. It can't be just, oh, the player wants to go, because City will say, look, you're playing at this club till the end of the season at least. And then, if the player wanted to go, then he would have probably forced the move. City would say, well, we've nothing to hold against you. They'll probably let him move. So I can't understand either way whether the club want him to go or he wants to go. I wouldn't understand why it would be a second loan deal for it. It just seems a bit strange, but you never know. I'm sure there'll be more details to emerge. I'm thinking both parties, City and Cancelo, want to part ways, but most clubs can't afford him. Example, Barcelona in this case, wages may be high. I mean, I wouldn't say he's massive amounts of money. I wouldn't say he's like João Cancelo would be unattainable for a lot of clubs. I do think he's a player that a lot of clubs could get, and it's not like City need the money. They wouldn't be too worried if he went for a bit cheaper than they probably would have liked, but nonetheless, who knows? As Newcastle finding their feet a bit in this game. Here's Almiron. Guimaraes to Byrne. Alexander Isak. Guimaraes with a heavy touch and gives Rodri the chance to recover, but quick onto it is Kieran Trippier trying to whip it in. Cleared away by Ruben Diaz. And the header from Byrne puts Foden in a difficult position, but it keeps the possession for City. Lovely move. Now the ball from Rodri over the top has Newcastle bodies running back, but Kieran Trippier goes back to Nick Pope. What's the lineup and who's on the bench? I can just do a quick change to the graphic if you want me to. There we go, there's the teams on your screen. There's the two teams. Ron says they paid 60 million for him. Is this Cancelo? Yeah, but I mean, players get older, you know? I don't know, you don't always retain your value at a football club. Sometimes, depends what the club wants you to go for. Here's Almiron. Gets it to Isak. Isak in the box here. Cuts it back to Joe Linton. Blocked. City look a bit vulnerable there. Tonali, lovely football by Tonali to win it back. Byrne brings it down on the left. Followed all the way by Foden. And Byrne has to go back infield to Sandro Tonali. Guimaraes trying to feed it through for Gordon, but too much pace on that one from Guimaraes, and Anthony Gordon just sees it run for a goal kick to Manchester City. Positive from Newcastle. After that spell of City dominance in the first 15, they've kind of found a bit more of the ball in the last 5 minutes. At least that's what happened to the Luton-Burnley match. Kenilworth Road is not ready, so Luton's ground isn't ready for Premier League football just yet. It will be ready in a few weeks, but it's just not ready. Wasn't ready for that game, so the Premier League had postponed it and said we'll play it at a different time, at a later date. Fun says Ajax also denied West Ham's bid for Kudus. I mean, West Ham in for Kudus. Fair play. Fair play, you know. Some more rumours floating around is Bayer Leverkusen wanting Nathan Tella Nathan Tella, where's he at now? He was at Southampton at one point. I don't know exactly where he is at the moment, if he's still at Southampton. Bayer Leverkusen, I think they got a good win today. I remember seeing somewhere about their result this afternoon. Yeah, 3-2 win over Leipzig. Fantastic result for Bayer Leverkusen. So really, really good for them. Burnley, yes. I remember that now. I was just trying to remember. I remember him at Southampton at one point. Yeah, but then he did move to Burnley, that's right. Yeah, but fair play. Still at Southampton, Burnley loan. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, perfect start to the season for Bayer Leverkusen against RB Leipzig this afternoon. That'll be another league we'll keep an eye on this season. And the interesting games that, of course, we always do their Klassiker between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund, and any other interesting games. Of course, it depends on the big seasons. It depends on the big games. You know, whatever game we feel will be interesting enough for everybody to watch, it will be picked. Lisa, are you a Manchester City fan? There's a yellow card given out to Anthony Gordon for something. I think VAR was checking for a possible red. Well, they've just cleared that. So just a yellow card for Anthony Gordon. I didn't see the challenge, but I just saw the graphic come up that it said he'd got a yellow card. Fair enough. Ball over the top from City, and Nick Pope's quick to come out and head it out for a throw-in. Erling Haaland was lurking, but Nick Pope was quick to it. Rodri. Vardiol. Rodri. Out to the right is Walker. Walker down the right-hand side. Cuts back onto his left. Gives it back to Kovacic. Now out wide to Walker again. Was lining up for the cross, but has to cut it back to Kovacic once more. Rodri. Akanji. Gives the possession away. Manuel Akanji as Gordon picks it up and Newcastle try and play it quick. Bruno Guimaraes. Back to Pope. Pope with the clearance. And the free kick will be given Newcastle's way as the foul on Bruno Guimaraes. So Newcastle will get the free kick inside their own half. I was just wondering, Lisa, because it was... yeah, the comment they made there, I think Ben Knight should be on the bench, not Ball, but it just made me kind of think, oh, you must know a lot about Manchester City then. You must be a Manchester City fan if you know the club a bit more in depth about more young players. Fair enough. But don't forget, we have so much more football to come. Believe me when I say this, we have so much more to come. We have 3 more games this weekend. Aston Villa v Everton tomorrow, West Ham Chelsea tomorrow, and then on Monday night Crystal Palace against Arsenal. 3 fantastic games to look forward to. Of course, Aston Villa and Everton both beaten last week. West Ham Chelsea both drew last week. Crystal Palace and Arsenal both won last week. All those games are set up for really exciting results. Really set up for exciting games to round off the Premier League weekends. It's been a very interesting start to the Premier League season. Ron's picks for relegation: Sheffield, Luton, Everton, Bournemouth and West Ham. So they're going to be the relegation battle. So who are you having going down? Sheffield United, Luton and Everton, I'm guessing, from that. Let me know. Rodri. Oh, that ball's given away as Trippier picks it out, but couldn't get it to Almiron as it's won back by Grealish. Alvarez. Rodri out to the left is Manuel Akanji. Kovacic to Rodri. 26.5 minutes gone. 0-0. Ball behind. Walker trying to cross it and just couldn't catch it. Kyle Walker, and it ended up in the hands of Nick Pope. See this again. It's Rodri with the ball over the top. It's a lovely ball over the top. There's a Kovacic, apologies, to Walker, and Walker tries to cross it right across goal but just doesn't catch the ball right and ends up bobbling into the hands of Nick Pope. Fun says Everton in talks for a £12 million deal for Shea Adams. Yeah, of course, he was heavily involved today, Shea Adams, for his current club, Southampton, getting the winning goal in the 94th minute to give Southampton all 3 points. Shea Adams could be a good signing for Everton if they get it done. I mean, I predicted Everton to be in a battle this season for relegation. I don't think they will get relegated, but I do think they will be a side that will be involved, definitely. Here's Alvarez looking for Haaland. Cleared away by Botman. Kept alive by Grealish. And that's taken out by Tonali, I think it was, on that side. Put it out for the City throw-in. City having a few chances. Few half chances, nothing of major quality so far from Manchester City in terms of chances for getting the opening goal. Akanji out to Grealish on the left hand side. Jack Grealish comes in field to find Kovacic. Kovacic to Ruben Dias. Back to Kovacic, who's pressed by Guimaraes there but keeps the possession for Manchester City. Still 0-0. In this one, still yet to see a shot on target as well. That was nice from Haaland. Gets it to Foden. Now Grealish. Grealish in the box. Jack Grealish trying to open up the space. Find a bit of space. Plays it across. Headed across goal. Walker. Kovacic from distance. Blocked by Joe Linton. Better from Manchester City. Akanji. Now Rodri. Trying to sustain the pressure, Manchester City. Here's Foden on the edge. Blocked again. Now to Grealish on the left-hand side. Grealish trying to find Alvarez, cleared away. Yeah, and I forgot. Wolves. Yeah, Wolves they have to go down, Ron. So Luton 20th, Sheffield United 19th, Wolves 18th, Everton 17th. So similar to mine. I have Sheffield United staying up, but I think Luton and Wolves are both for me to go down. I think Everton will stay in 17th. I think Everton will be in relegation, but I don't think they'll go down. But my shout is West Ham. I don't know why. I just always every season it just seems to be there's always seems to be one team that massively underperforms, and I think for me I think it'll be West Ham this season. I have no idea why. It just was a feeling that I had whenever I was doing my predictions. I think it was the lack of signings at that time as well when I done the predictions. But I did say at that point they were the one where it was like, if they are going to stay, if there was a team in the bottom six of my predictions that were going to stay up, West Ham would have been the ones that I would have said would have the chance. Here's Foden across to Alvarez. Alvarez with a strike, and Alvarez with the goal. That's a fantastic goal by Julian Alvarez for Manchester City from the edge of the box, and that's a perfectly right-footed curling finish from the inside of the left post into the side netting, and Manchester City lead here after just 30 minutes at the Etihad. Fabulous goal by the World Cup winner Julian Alvarez, who's seen his second fiddle to Erling Haaland here at Manchester City. But he is certainly a fantastic striker, and he's shown it perfectly there. It's into the box, and Alvarez, it's lovely from Foden to find Alvarez just on the edge, takes a right-footed touch and unleashes one with his right boot. Nick Pope got his fingertips to it, but just not enough to direct it wide of his post. And it just finds the inside of the netting. And Pep Guardiola goes mad on the sidelines. He can't believe it. That is a sensational goal from Manchester City. Absolutely fantastic. Genuinely. Really, really good. Manchester City lead. Well, there you go. No doubt. Manchester City have dominated the game in terms of possession, and we talk about it all the time. It's always talked about Manchester City and teams coming up against them. You cannot afford to lose any sort of concentration, and even if you don't, Manchester City can still punish you if you're on your best form. It's Manchester City. They are a machine of goals and winning and just getting the job done. And they're doing it with quality. They're not grinding at results. They're doing it with such quality. And that goal from Julian Alvarez is a fantastic finish. Fantastic. Fun says Newcastle needs to wake up. And Ron says, I thought Alvarez was injured. Guess he got over it. I don't know about Julian Alvarez with injuries. Maybe he was. Didn't hear very much about it, but nevertheless, he is playing and he is already on the score sheet for Manchester City. That's lovely link up with Foden from Alvarez. Foden through, and Sandro Tonali trying to put in a challenge, and the referee does give the free kick to Phil Foden, and Rob Jones also hands Sandro Tonali out a yellow card as well for that challenge on Foden. I don't think there's much in that, to be fair. I think they're both going for the ball, and Tonali just... It's just a strong right arm from Tonali. I'm not too sure about that. I think the referee's got a bit joyed up there. I don't think that's a yellow card. I mean, a free kick, fair enough, but a yellow card? Not too sure about that. But nonetheless, City have this free kick. So, free kick to be taken for City then. Newcastle try to minimise the damage done. as we are into the last 11 minutes of the first half. Alvarez whipping and one in. Cleared away, and shot from distance from Kovacic is also blocked. The bounce of the ball helps out Anthony Gordon, who is tackled by Julian Alvarez, and will get the free kick there, Gordon, for Newcastle. Just rehydrating, making sure I'm fully hydrated and don't end up with a dry mouth like I did in the Manchester United game. Here's Ruben Diaz. All the way back to Edison. Edison with the ball straight through the middle. Trying to find Alvarez, but quickly cut out there by Fabian Schär, who gets it to Almiron. Almiron on the edge of the 18-yard box. Has to cut it across to Dan Burn on the left. To Guimaraes. Schär to Botman. Sven Botman to Bruno Guimaraes, who is taken down there by Rodri, and another free kick will go the way of Newcastle. Eddie Howe just writing down some notes for his half-time team talk. I don't think Newcastle have been poor, to be fair. I just think Manchester City have dominated the possession, like they always do. And with their first shot on target, they find the back of the net with pure quality. As City trying to battle to get it cleared away from their own box from that Newcastle free kick. Brought down nicely by Anthony Gordon, who's taken down, but the referee plays advantage. Botman. Ball forward. Nicely taken down by Almiron. Almiron opens up for a shot, blocked, and that will run out for a throw-in. There might be a VAR check of some sort here. VAR going to check at a possible handball, I feel. That's not a handball for me. It's Kovacic. It's down by his side. It just tiniest wee bit out of his body, but it's similar to the one from earlier. There was no handball there. Burn with the switch ball. That's Kieran Trippier trying to keep the possession, but City win it back through Rodri now. Kovacic. Foden out to the left-hand side is Grealish. Jack Grealish breaking down the left-hand side. Grealish bricks into the box, cleared away just about by Newcastle by Fabian Schär as Anthony Gordon carries it. Alexander Isak here, trying to force the counter-attack, but a heavy touch and the pressure from the City defenders lets it run out for a goal or throw-in on that right-hand side to City. Are we having a debate in the chat? What's the debate? Who's the best keeper in the world? Ooh, that's a difficult one, that. Well, there's so many different eras you could talk about. Well, I mean, as Fonz mentioned there, Gordon Banks. I mean, that's a long time ago. But if you talk about now, you've got a lot of shouts. I mean, over the last 5 years, you could probably put Edison in that, Alisson in that, Thibaut Courtois, Ter Stegen, Jan Oblak. Trying to think, is there anyone else? I'm trying to think of others. But that's all in recent years, and then you're talking ever in the Premier League. I would say Peter Schmeichel could be a good shout for the Premier League era. There's a lot of options for best goalkeeper. I mean, I'm pretty biased. I would say Alisson, but that's in recent times because I think no one's had more of an impact in terms of a goalkeeper on their team than Alisson, I think. You know, where would Liverpool be without him? You know, I, as a Liverpool fan, dread to think. But you never know. There's a lot of options to that one. A lot of options. And so many different time periods as well. In terms of ever, Fun says, ever for me, it's Gordon Banks. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I can't say I've personally watched any clips of Gordon Banks as a goalkeeper, but I've heard good things. As the ball from Newcastle trying to break the lines. That'll just run out for a goal kick to Manchester City. Manuel Neuer, yes. Forgot about. I knew I was forgetting someone. Buffon or Iker, yeah, of course. Gianluigi Buffon, fair enough. Powerhouse of a goalkeeper, Gianluigi Buffon. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's so many options. So many options. So Edison with the ball to take the goal kick then. Last 5 minutes of the first half here at the Etihad. City lead by just the 1-0 from that Julian Alvarez goal a few moments ago. Back to Edison. All the way forward looking for Julian Alvarez, who takes it down lovely on the left hand side. Infield to Foden. Foden feeds it through for Haaland. Haaland with a strike! Oh, narrowly wide of the right post from Erling Haaland. The pass from Edison to find Alvarez is sensational. Alvarez with a perfect touch to take it down, dead, finds Foden, and then Haaland makes the run. Foden feeds it through for Haaland, and Haaland with a left-footed strike that just drags agonisingly wide of that right post. So close for Erling Haaland, who got a brace in the opening Premier League game of the season. Well, he was not too far away from getting on the score sheet and getting his 3rd goal in 2 games. Almost there. Maybe another chance will come his way, surely. It's Diaz. Vardiol. Back to Edison. Ruben Diaz. Haaland just battling with Botman, and Botman comes out the better of the two there. Here's Dan Burn to Sven Botman. Newcastle just playing it around the back line. Here's Kieran Trippier trying to lift it over the top. Chested by Almiron, kept in by Miguel Almiron, but not kept in his possession, as Akanji's there to steal it away. To Vardiol. City, not at their peak best, I'd say, in this first half. They've been pretty good, but not untouchable. I think Newcastle have had a few opportunities to counter against City, and 1 or 2 opportunities to try and cause them a few issues, but City have come out unscathed, as they do on most occasions so far. Here's Rodri. Grealish. Well, we have just under 2 minutes of the first 45 remaining of this first half. Here's Kyle Walker. Diaz. Intercepted by Botman, but swarmed away. Lots of City bodies, and that's beautiful from Walker. Kyle Walker breaking down the left-hand side, gives it to Grealish. Jack Grealish, he's got 3 bodies in the box. Jack Grealish cuts it across, lifts it, deflected, and goes behind off Kieran Trippier for the City corner. Really, really good. Beautiful from Kyle Walker. Burst into the midfield and down that left-hand side. Spotted the pass of Grealish, and Grealish made all the work happen to get the corner. And a corner that he won and that Jack Grealish will take. And it's the first of the game, interestingly enough. Corner whipped in to the back post. Rodri's there to weigh it. He heads it, but it's eventually cleared away by Bruno Guimaraes. And the chest down is stolen away as Isak breaks. But that's lovely from Phil Foden to that low centre of gravity to win it back. Now it gets to Haaland. Haaland on the left. Grealish just about keeps that one in and will give away the free kick. I thought he'd gone down and thought he'd won the free kick there, Jack Grealish, but the referee gave it the other way. So free kick to Newcastle. Ron says, is it me or Newcastle isn't as tight at the back like last season? I mean, City are just really, like, I don't know, they're just methodical. Is that the right word? Is that a bad thing? They're taking their time and they're passing around Newcastle and finding spaces. They're so good at that, City. 3 additional minutes, but I don't think Newcastle have been particularly bad defensively. I don't think they've been exposed or massively. A lot of players have been left in the dark, I think, or left on their own. I think they've done decent defensively so far, but I mean, it's Manchester City at the Etihad. I mean, everybody's going to struggle. You would have to find some sort of team not to struggle at the Etihad against this Manchester City team. Joe Linton, Guimaraes, Tonali, Guimaraes to Joe Linton again. Bruno Guimaraes. Fun says, anyways, I need to go. I'll see you tomorrow. If not tomorrow, definitely Monday. Thank you very much indeed for joining us again. Fun. Great to have your company. Come on, you magpies. And then come on, you Gunners. Fair enough. You're definitely anti-Man City. Fair enough. I have to respect it. You know? Everybody has their opinions. Dan Burn to Botman. Now Guimaraes, halfway through the 3 additional minutes. Here's Miguel Almiron. Finds the overlapping ball of Trippier. Ball into the box for Gordon to take down, and didn't fall right for Anthony Gordon at the back post to try and latch onto it and City get it cleared. That was lovely link up between Almiron and Trippier down that right hand side. Tonali. Almiron. Oh, just a miscommunication there. Not on the same page. The ball's given away. Rodri. Foden. And Vardiol to Rodri. Diaz to Josko Vardiol. Out to the right hand side to an on-running Walker. Breaks down this right flank. Kyle Walker just taking his time. He's found his way towards the corner flag. He's battling with Anthony Gordon, and then the last touch off Kyle Walker will see Newcastle get the throw in. The last couple of seconds of the half, surely. And this throw in will be taken by Dan Burn. And Rob Jones calls to an end the first half, where Manchester City have dominated possession and had most of the control in the game, but only a 1-goal lead at the break. It's Julian Alvarez's goal that separates the two teams at the Etihad after 48 minutes of first half football. Half time, Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 0.
Just buy
Welcome back to LFS for the live coverage of Manchester City against Newcastle United in the Premier League. At half-time, it is Manchester City that have the 1-goal lead from Julian Alvarez's goal. We've had an exciting weekend so far and 3 more games still to come. But let's talk about the results so far. Nottingham Forest got their weekend off to a winning start for them. A 2-1 win over Sheffield United. Brentford went to Craven Cottage and got a 3-0 victory against Marco Silva's side. Liverpool came from 1 goal down to win 3-1 at Anfield against Bournemouth. Luton Burnley was postponed prior to kick-off. Wolves were beaten massively by Brighton in Brighton's second successive 4-1 win of the season. A perfect start for Roberto De Zerbi's side as they got the 3 points at Molineux. And earlier this evening, Tottenham were beat Manchester United by 2-0 with a sensational performance in that second half from Spurs to get those 2 goals. And at half-time, the Etihad, it is 1-0 to Manchester City. 3 more games to come. Aston Villa hosting Everton, West Ham hosting Chelsea, and Arsenal's visit to South London to face Crystal Palace on Monday night. All 3 of those games, by the way, will be on LFS over the remainder of the weekends. Let's have a quick run through. I was bringing you through some of the score lines from the earlier games in around Europe. Montpellier got a 4-1 win against Lyon in Ligue 1. It is half-time between Toulouse and PSG in Ligue 1. It is goalless there. Napoli ended up winning 3-1 away at Frosinone in Serie A this evening. In that one, Inter are currently 1-0 up against Monza, and Fiorentina 3-0 up against Genoa in those games. No more league games to tell you about at the moment for this Saturday evening. We'll keep you to date with those 3 games, the PSG game, the Fiorentina game, and the Inter match, as well as Osasuna and Athletic Club, as Athletic Club winning by 2-0 at the moment. Real Madrid ended up getting the victory in that game early on after that early goal they conceded against Almeria. They ended up winning by 3-1, Carlo Ancelotti's side. Right, the second half at the Etihad Stadium is on the way in just a moment. Kickoff. The second half is on the way in just a moment. Welcome back to the live coverage of Manchester City against Newcastle. The second half is just moments away as the Newcastle players just emerge back onto the pitch for the second 45 to round off our Saturday action in the Premier League between these 2 at the moment. I'm just awaiting the Manchester City players to return to the pitch. At the moment, they haven't emerged from their dressing room as of yet. It gives me time to get my charger. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Apologies for that. Just had to make sure that none of the systems went down and we could keep giving this coverage, because there was a low battery message and I need to make sure that we don't have that kind of issue here tonight. We can't be having that. 2 goals in the game between Genoa and Fiorentina. Since I last updated you on that a few moments ago, Fiorentina got the 4th goal and Genoa have now got a goal back. It is 4-1 to Fiorentina in that one. Right, both sets of players are back on the pitch for the second half and ready to go. And it's Rob Jones that gets us back underway then for the second 45 at the Etihad. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications here on the channel so you don't miss a single stream from all of our streams this season that we're so looking forward to providing for you. And there's an early foul from Alvarez onto an alley, and that's seen Julian Alvarez go into the book early on in the second half then. Well, no changes at the break between the two teams. So as it was at the end of the second half is how we start at the end of the first half is how we start the second half here at the Etihad. As the first free kick for Newcastle, whipped forward, headed away by Akanji for City, as Foden actually hits it towards his own goal. It's a bit of a strange clearance, but Anthony Gordon has it on the left. Ball fizzed in by Guimaraes, headed on and headed back towards Isak. Isak goes down and the flag goes up. I thought the referee was going to give us something else there, but the flag did go up against Alexander Isak, or one of the Newcastle players. Just see this again. Ball fizzed in, flicked on. That's a tight one, that. Might have been just offside the Newcastle player. I'm trying to figure out who it was. I think it might be Dan Burnett was. Just slightly offside. I don't think that was a penalty either. So an early chance for Newcastle, but the offside flag up. Here's Rodri. And Diaz back to Edison. Edison with the long ball forward, look for Haaland. Again, the Newcastle centre-backs linking up to retain possession. Here's Fabian Schär. Back to Nick Pope. And now Tonali in midfield. Trippier. Isak. Gordon can make a run. He's given it to Joe Linton. Joe Linton now to Gordon. Gordon on the edge of the box trying to find the space. I think he might have been blocked by his own man. Gordon. Maybe not, but comes to nothing there from Newcastle. Nice break forward that ends up going out for a throw-in to Manchester City on the left-hand side. Well, they're showing the initiative, to be fair, Newcastle. I mean, that's all you really can do sometimes against Manchester City. Still in this game, let's not forget, it's only 1-0. Still a long, long way to go. And it's still a very, very close game. There is nothing decided yet. Here's Tonali. Now to the right-hand side is Almiron. Miguel Almiron. Finds the overlap of Trippier. Trippier with a cross in. Right across, and Joe Linton will try and pick it up on the edge on the left-hand side. He does so. Joe Linton finds Gordon. Nice feet by Anthony Gordon, who tries to spin in behind and get the shot off. He does get the shot off, but it's well over the bar from Anthony Gordon. Again, that link up on that right-hand side between Almiron and the overlapping run of Kieran Trippier. It caused City a threat in the first half, and it seems to have caused them another threat there. It's a dangerous combination on that right-hand side for Newcastle. It's one where they'll be looking to try and target more if they're going to try and find an equalising goal. The threat there, right up the pitch, and Erling Haaland latches onto a loose ball, but straight into the hands of Nick Pope. He's always a threat, Erling Haaland, no matter where he is or what what situation he finds himself in. He always somehow makes himself a threat. As Tonali hits it straight at Rodri. Kovacic gives it to Grealish. Grealish to Alvarez. Back to Kovacic. Now to Rodri. Diaz to Walker. Kyle Walker with a cross. All the way through the box and cleared away by Kieran Trippier at the far end. Out for a City throw. 63% of the chat predicting a Manchester City win. 26% predicting a draw. And only 10% predicting Newcastle to win this game. Here's Kovacic. Josko Vardiol. Tussled away there was Jack Grealish, who's completely apoplectic as to how he didn't get that foul. As Edison clears his lines and uses his head this time to clear his lines. Fantastic. Rodri. And Alvarez trying to break through, and he will get the free kick. Julian Alvarez. There was a goal in the game between Toulouse and PSG. But that goal has surely been disallowed, it must be, because it's back to 0-0. So PSG thought they got ahead, but it is still 0-0 in that one. Well, Julian Alvarez just hoisted back to his feet there by Ruben Diaz. As City ready up to take this free kick then. Be interesting to see what tactic Newcastle try and go for in this second half. So free kick to Manchester City. So Julian Alvarez to take. Alvarez flicks it over the top, but neither here nor there. And straight into the hands of Nick Pope. It's kind of a waste of a set piece, that. And Emmanuel in the chat, I'm a Man United fan, I'm not happy right now because of Spurs, but now I'm angry. Well, I mean, yeah. Manchester United, not the best of performances away at Tottenham earlier this evening. Ended up on the losing side of that game by 2-0. And probably deservedly so. Tottenham with a much better team in the second half, and Manchester United just looked again lethargic in the match in the second half. Weren't able to cope with Spurs. Newcastle try and break down the left with Gordon, but again City get bodies back and in the way to defend against that threat from Newcastle. Gordon battling to win it back again. There's been a collision between Gordon and Diaz, and then there's another challenge punched in there. There's a lot of challenges going around. There was a few cheers from around the crowd because Anthony Gordon's already on a yellow and has committed a foul on Diaz. Just see this again. It's Anthony Gordon. Nah. I don't think that's a yellow card for me. That one's a yellow card from Joe Linton on Foden. But the initial one, the Anthony Gordon one on Ruben Diaz, I don't think that's... They're both going for the ball. I don't think that's a yellow card. But Joe Linton's in the book. And I think Anthony Gordon has got away with one, because if he had got a yellow card there, it would have been his second and he would have been off. But the referee doesn't spot it. Nah. I don't think so. I think he's attempting to try and block the ball, and as Ruben Diaz just clears it, literally a millisecond before Gordon arrives, they collide. I do not think that's a yellow card, and I think the referee's got that one right there. To not give a yellow card, especially not a second yellow card, I think that would be very harsh. Well, Eddie Howe is going to make sure that the referee doesn't have another chance at making a decision against Anthony Gordon, and he might take Anthony Gordon off here, it looks like, in a moment or two when the ball is out of play. Here's Anthony Gordon, heavy touch. One back by Walker. Foden, Diaz, Walker. Akanji to Gvardiol. Newcastle readying a possible double change, it seems like here. And Joe Linton seems in a bit of pain here at the moment. It looks like it will be Harvey Barnes, and is that Sean Longstaff? It is indeed. So Longstaff and Barnes look to be the two players coming on for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon will be the first man to make way for Newcastle United. He is being replaced by Harvey Barnes. And we'll make that second substitution in a moment. Well, Harvey Barnes made a big impact last week on the score sheet when he came off the bench. And it's Joe Linton that's going to make way for Sean Longstaff. So a double change from Newcastle with Joe Linton and Gordon off, both on a yellow card, by the way. And coming on to replace them is Harvey Barnes and Sean Longstaff. Emmanuel says, I feel like Bayern Munich are winning the Champions League. Watch out for Kane. Yeah, Harry Kane performed incredibly. An assist and a goal in his league debut for Bayern Munich on Friday night away at Werder Bremen. And that very convincing win over Werder Bremen in that game. Fantastic start to his league career at Bayern Munich. Joe Linton just hobbling off the pitch there. It's a slight concern for Newcastle fans. Joe Linton off the pitch there. City fire a ball forward, brought down by Foden. Foden finds Jack Grealish, Akanji, Rodri trying to find Haaland, but it's blocked off. That time by Dan Burn. Tonali trying to find Barnes, but that ball's intercepted by Ruben Diaz. It's one of those games where City have had the vast majority of the possession, but it's not been the most attacking of games. There's not been mass amount of chances in the match. That's a challenge by Harvey Barnes on Kyle Walker. And an immediate yellow card for Harvey Barnes. Just see this again. Yeah, it's just an unnecessary one. A pull back on Kyle Walker. It's a fair decision by the referee to give a yellow card there. And it completely just voids the whole impact of him coming on for a man on a yellow card, saying he's on a yellow card now. Well, that was totally pointless. Ruben Diaz. Back to Edison. All the way forward. As Alvarez tries to gather it, but Newcastle break it away. They just can't keep possession, Newcastle. They try and pass the ball into midfield, and City just overcrowd them time and time again. That's another foul committed by Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes this time. So City get another free kick. Manuel says, I still remember when Harry Maguire was worth 90 million. Now 20 million. 20. Big drop. Well, I mean, he is rubbish. I mean, let's be honest. I don't rate him. I still don't understand why there's people in the world that say he's a world-class centre-back. No world-class centre-back can only play in a back three. Name me a world-class centre-back that can only play in a back five. Like, ridiculous. Erling Haaland! Just a way through, and I think Fabian Schär did enough to put him off. It's a sensational ball from Foden. Beautiful first touch by Haaland. And the challenge from Fabian Schär is top class. To get the goal kick out of it as well. Sensational. Really, really good. But that's where City are going to have more of the threat. As the game goes on, Newcastle's concentration will be tested. Their defensive structure will be tested time and time again. And their resolution, well, there will be tired legs. The last thing they want to do is see Erling Haaland running forward towards them. Here's Almiron. He's got Trippier on his right-hand side. Almiron going himself. Cuts it back to Trippier. Too much. Too little on the ball, sorry. And that completely breaks down for Newcastle. Grealish. To Akanji. I think Newcastle have shown the right idea, but they just haven't been able to execute the pass or the touch, or they just haven't been able to get the right execution of it so far. They've struggled on that front. 30 minutes to change that. 60 minutes gone, 30 to go plus additional time. Still Manchester City lead by just the 1 goal to nil. Julian Alvarez in the first half. You just roasted Maguire. Well, I mean, I have to be honest. You know, it's a fair opinion. I mean, the point that a lot of these pundits on TV make is, oh, he's a world-class centre-back, you know, what he's done for England. What have England won? Sorry, what have they won? Nothing. He's not had that much of an impact if they keep going out of tournaments, has he? You know? I'm not just saying it's just him, but the whole thing. But what I'm saying is, Harry Maguire isn't a world-class centre-back. Stop using these dated examples. He's not. He was rubbish last season. He is now the 5th choice centre-back at Manchester United. I mean, how bad can you get? They paid 80 million for him 4 years ago. He was their club captain. He's now been stripped of that too. And people want us to deny that he's not a great centre-back. He's not great. He's okay, but he's not world-class. I'm not hearing that shit. You know, I'm not listening to, oh, he's world-class. He's one of the best centre-backs in the league. No. Just stop it. Anyway. Thank you, Emmanuel. You got me back on track. PSG have taken the lead. It's Kylian Mbappe from the penalty spot that has put PSG in front away at Toulouse this evening in their second game after their draw on the opening match. They have the lead against Toulouse tonight. Fun says Alvarez, he's had an impact. He scores own goals. Yeah. I mean, that's the only impact he can have. He's the best imposter of a team I've ever seen. Genuinely. He actually makes his defence worse and actually helps out the opposition. I mean, great centre-back. World class. Lisa, any subs? Yes, there has been 2 subs. Just the 2 for Newcastle. Man City, no subs as of yet. Harvey Barnes and Sean Longstaff replacing Joe Linton and Anthony Gordon. Haaland! Just deflected again. So many chances. A couple of good chances for Erling Haaland. And he can't find the net with any of them so far. It's Foden again, linking up with Grealish. Foden breaks into space. Plays the nice ball. Haaland confuses the defenders and tries to create the angle to try and find the finish, and just gets his balance back, takes it with the left foot. It might have hit the back of the leg of the Newcastle defender there, Fabian Schär, I think. But so close again for Erling Haaland. But he's coming ever so close, but just can't find the back of the net just yet. Kovacic, Rodri. Ruben Diaz to Guardiola. Here's Grealish. City have it in possession again. It looks like Newcastle are going to make a few more changes in a few moments. Here's Foden again. Running off the defence. Foden finds it to Haaland. Is this the time? Erling Haaland! Saved by Pope. My goodness me, so many chances. This is fantastic. Walker cuts it back. Rodri trying to force it through, but Dan Burn gets in the way of that one. Who lives in a turtle shell in Paris? Oh, come on. I know it's Kylian Mbappe, but come on. Is there need? Come on, fun. Come on. Emmanuel, even though I'm a United fan, Van Dijk should be 100% higher than Maguire. I mean, obviously. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Van Dijk is 100 times better than Harry Maguire. He's rubbish, Harry Maguire. Virgil van Dijk has won a Champions League. I mean, I'm not using these examples. I'm not Jamie Carragher or anything, but you know, Virgil van Dijk's a fantastic player. Plus, he's still his club captain. He's just become his club's captain. Something Harry Maguire couldn't do. But let's move. Let's move on from that, because all this Harry Maguire talk's making me slightly angry at people. Anyway, here's Almiron to run down the right-hand side for Newcastle. Plays it across Bruno Guimaraes in a bit of space, and that's an awful shot by Bruno Guimaraes. Should have done so much better. So much better. Bruno Guimaraes finds the space, and the strike is just not great at all. He just side foots it. There's no power, no pace, no accuracy behind it. It's probably one of the worst I've seen. Sorry, this is Alvarez or Liverpool fan Alvarez. I mean, maybe, but Virgil van Dijk is 100 times better than Harry Maguire. Let's just be real. He is. Sandro Tonali and Alexander Isak both coming off, so done another double change from Newcastle. And Elliot Anderson, and I think that might be Callum Wilson, is it? That has come on to replace him. It looks like it is. So yes, double change. Again, Isak and Tonali off, and Elliot Anderson and Callum Wilson on. Kovacic. Down the right is Walker. Walker looking for the cross. Looking to find Grealish, but Kieran Trippier's there to head it back to his goalkeeper. Emmanuel says, commentator, do you think Højlund could be better than Haaland? I mean, he's got a tough standard to keep, Rasmus Højlund, if he's going to reach anywhere near Erling Haaland levels. Erling Haaland is a machine. But cross from Wilson. No one in there but Kyle Walker to clear. I mean, he's got a tough job to do if Rasmus Højlund wants to get to Erling Haaland's level, but never say never. I don't see it, but you never know. I've been surprised by more things than enough in this Premier League. Here's Rodri. Kovacic. 22 minutes plus additional time to go. Manchester City still with that 1-goal lead against Newcastle here at the Etihad. Grealish. Alvarez. Trying to find the return ball to Jack Grealish, who does get the touch to it. Grealish. The referee was initially playing on, but I think he's given the free kick here to Jack Grealish. Don't forget, we've more Premier League football to come for you. If you haven't heard already, we've more games. Aston Villa versus Everton gets us underway for a double-header on Sunday action tomorrow from 2, before we have the 4:30 kickoff between West Ham and Chelsea at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. So the throw-in has been given to Newcastle, so the free kick was actually not given. But Newcastle have given the ball back to Manchester City, given it all the way back to Edison. That whole fair play kind of idea. Edison just picks it up, rolls it out to the Ruben Diaz. Akanji. Manuel, I think David Raya should have went to Bayern Munich. Were they ever in for him? I think it's a very good signing for Arsenal, to be fair. On loan and then an option to buy. Oh, that's a poor pass by Rodri. He's gifted one for Callum Wilson. Wilson. Vasco Vardiol just got in the way initially, and Harvey Barnes from distance. Save made by Edison. That's probably the best chance probably from Newcastle so far in this second half. And it was a gift of a pass from Rodri. Passed it straight to Callum Wilson. Wilson blocked off by Josko Vardiol. Had to go back to Barnes, and Barnes just strikes through it. Not much of the pace through it, but it ends up into the hands of Edison quite comfortably. No, but I think the signing of David Raya for Arsenal is a pretty good signing. As a backup goalkeeper, it keeps Aaron Ramsdale on his toes and keeps him performing at the highest level. And if not, he's got a high level opposite competition there in David Raya to take over as number one. But a very good signing for Arsenal, David Raya. I don't think Bayern Munich would need a goalkeeper, to be fair, but wouldn't hurt. It's a good move for David Raya, no doubt. Bruno Guimaraes has just been given a yellow card for an issue. So, free kick given to City and the yellow card handed out to Bruno Guimaraes. Into the last 20 minutes of the game. Still City lead by that 1-0. Will we get the next? Well, the next goal will be huge in this game. Walker, Kovacic to Foden, Rodri to Akanji, Diaz. Lovely ball, lovely feet. Foden finds it to Alvarez, trying to return it to Foden. Too much pace, and Trippier clears it away. Now, one for Almiron to run on to. Here is Mikel Almiron running at the City defence. Almiron trying to flick it round the corner. And City just got Josko Vardiol ahead of the on-running. I think it was Sean Longstaff that was running in on there. Luckily, City got bodies in the way and got back in the possession. Inter 2-0 up now against Monza in that game. It looks like they're getting 3 points in that one in their first game of the season. At home to Monza, 2-0. Lautaro Martinez with the second. And Fiorentina edging ever closer to their first win of the season. 4-1, they still lead away at Genoa this evening. And that La Liga game between Osasuna and Athletic Club is still 2-0 to Athletic Club at half-time in that one. And Toulouse still 1-0 down to PSG with around 15 minutes to go in that one. As Newcastle have possession here with Fabian Schär. To Botman. Now Longstaff. Schär. Out to Trippier. Back to Fabian Schär. Long ball forward by Schär. One for Wilson to chase, and that's really good defending by Manuel Akanji to get across and defend that and win the ball. Rodri now finds it to Josko Vardiol. Can he get into a good space and run forward? He can. Gets it to Grealish. Grealish taken down there, and that'll be a free kick. Manuel, I'm still having flashbacks of when I cried when Man United lost 7-0 to Liverpool. Jesus. What a game that was. Do you know, I think that's probably one of the best game that I've commentated on. Genuinely. Not just because it was Liverpool Man United, and I'm a Liverpool fan, but not just because of that. I think it was just an incredible game overall. Just a sensational game. Maybe a bit because I'm a Liverpool fan, but nevertheless, it was still a fantastic match. So free kick for Manchester City then. Phil Foden and Jack Grealish, it looks like they're over this one. It's Foden, left-footed cross in. Headed away at the front post by Trippier. Kovacic recycles the possession and gives it to Alvarez. Now Kyle Walker switches out to the left for Grealish, who heads it on, but Trippier will be quick to that one and will see it out for the goal kick. England teammates there, the three of them, Foden, Grealish and Trippier. As we're into the last 15 minutes plus additional time here at the Etihad. What do Newcastle do? Will they throw everything at it now? They've got nothing to lose. They're 1-0 down. They have to try and find something to try and go for an equalizer. Here's Almiron. Tries to feed it through. Cleared away by Akanji. Kept alive though. Nicely by Elliot Anderson. Anderson to find Almiron. Anderson to the byline. Cuts it across. Too much for Harvey Barnes at the back post. Barnes just about keeps it in on the left-hand side. Up against Walker. Harvey Barnes. Comes in field to Bruno Guimaraes. Now Almiron. Flick on to Trippier. Trippier at the byline. Cuts it back across. Headed away by Rodri. Barnes picks it up on the left again. Rinse and repeat from Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes. Switches across. Almiron takes it, tries to take it down. Can't gather it first time, but does keep it in. And will win the throw-in. That's very good recovery from Miguel Almiron. Really, really good on the ball there. As the throw-in's taken, Fabian Schär. All in the Man City half. These Newcastle players. Longstaff trying to pass it to Almiron, but Almiron knew he's coming back from an offside position. So left it. That goes out for a Man City throw. Keep those votes coming in on that prediction. 63% still predicting that Man City win this game. 25% a draw and 11% saying Newcastle win. Get those votes in. We'll be closing the poll in around 10 minutes time. Burn tackling there, and then it's won back by City through Alvarez trying to force through Haaland, but Botman there to intercept. Sven Botman linking up with Wilson. Now Longstaff out to the right hand side, finds Almiron up against Grealish. Almiron blocked off by Jack Grealish. Really good defending by the left winger. Pressure on Newcastle again. They keep it alive with Almiron. Here's Fabian Schär. Longstaff linking up with Barnes. Elliot Anderson. Anderson on the left. Gets the bit of space. Cuts it across. Almiron with a strike blocked by Grealish. Trippier. Newcastle building. Trying to force it. Guimaraes just on the edge, and Foden skips away to bring City away on the break. Here's Phil Foden breaking forward. He's got Haaland ahead of him. Trying to find Haaland, couldn't squeeze it through. That was really good positioning by Fabian Schär. Now Newcastle come the other end. Burn gives it to Barnes. Harvey Barnes. Back in field to Elliot Anderson. Well, there's space everywhere at both ends of the pitch here. There is room for another goal. At either end, that is. Guimaraes. Fabian Schär. Out to the left to Barnes. Barnes feeds it for Elliot Anderson. Anderson with a cross. Grealish with the header away, and Alvarez picks it up on the edge of the box with Foden with a clearance. Looking to feed through Haaland. Again, defending. Very good from Newcastle. Longstaff. Almiron. Sean Longstaff. Here's Guimaraes. Newcastle a bit more energetic, a bit more pace, a bit more power in them. Well, they won't be able to keep themselves onside there for Miguel Almiron. Offside. Brings to an end that positive bit of play from Newcastle. Positive few minutes of play. 10.1 kilometres for Bruno Guimaraes covered. Foden and Rodri both on 10 kilometres as well. A lot of running. Still only the one goal that separates these two teams from Julian Alvarez. Long ball. As Haaland lurching off the back of the defenders, but there was a foul given against Erling Haaland. So free kick will go Newcastle's way as we enter the last 10 minutes here at the Etihad. Burn. Nice ball. Here's Anderson. Anderson down the left finds Barnes. Barnes just couldn't get it under his control, and that goes out of play for a City throw. Newcastle showing a bit more promise in the last few minutes. Like they can push for an equalising goal. Will keep Man City on their toes, certainly. Here's Phil Foden for City on the break. Alvarez. Deflection. Can't be cleared away initially. It is cleared away by Newcastle. And Barnes gets it out to Burn. Burn in his own corner. And given away to Rodri. As City look to build again. A goal here would be huge for Manchester City in confirming the 3 points going their way, but as it stands at this 1-goal scoreline, it's still all in the balance. Here's Kyle Walker. Phil Foden. Full time in the game in the Serie A games between Fiorentina and Genoa as Fiorentina 4-1 winners, and Inter got a 2-0 win over Monza. Both full-time scores. Into the last 6 minutes of the game between Toulouse and PSG, and it's Kylian Mbappe's penalty that separates the two teams on the score sheet there. Still 2-0 to Athletic Club against Osasuna as well in that one. Just 9 minutes gone of the second half, and Pep Guardiola having a natter with some of the fans enjoying themselves this evening. The ball forward from the back for Newcastle. Rodri heads it away as they try and carry it away through Foden. Foden has been excellent in this game, carrying the ball on the counter-attack and so threatening. If they end up winning this game, Man City, Foden has been by far the best player on this pitch over the 90 minutes. Still a bit to go, but he's the leading candidate for me at the moment for player of the match. Genuinely. Ball from the back for Newcastle, and Kyle Walker just heads it back to his goalkeeper Edison. Ruben Diaz. Edison to Diaz. Rodri finds Grealish on the left-hand side. Grealish back in field to Rodri. Kovacic. Rodri again. Finds Foden. Nice first touch to find Akanji. Rodri to Grealish. Grealish to Rodri. Now Kovacic. Rodri. Manchester City seemingly just keeping their patience and their composure. Keep sticking to the game plan of passing it around Newcastle, waiting for an opening and not allowing them into any space to try and find an equaliser. It's their way of managing the game, but also trying to find a second goal as well. It works hand in hand at the moment for Manchester City. Grealish. You have a late equaliser in the game between Toulouse and PSG. Could be. There is late drama. Zakaria Aboukal from the penalty spot to level it in Toulouse. Toulouse 1, PSG 1. Well, 2 penalties in that game, 2 goals. 1 apiece in that one. Walker. Ball over the top. Dan Burn there battling as ever. It's Sven Botman actually, this battling as ever with Phil Foden. It goes out for the throw in to Manchester City on the right hand side. 5 minutes plus additional time to go at the Etihad this evening, in our final game of our triple header on this Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening as well. We started the afternoon with Liverpool hosting Bournemouth, ended up 3-1 to the home side there, and the home side getting the 3 points between Tottenham and Man United. It looks like it's going to be 3 for 3. The 3 home teams getting 3 points, with City currently leading Newcastle by that 1-0. Still time to come, and they've just made another change as well, Newcastle. Valentino Livramento has just replaced Miguel Almiron. So that is their 5th and final change. City still yet to make any changes. Now that's one thing I'd be surprised at, considering they played in midweek. Surprised, but City winning this game at the moment and not having made a single change. Fascinating. Vardiol. Edison. Heavy ball into the midfield. Guimaraes wins it back, and that's a poor ball by Sean Longstaff. It's one thing from Newcastle. See, when you get the ball off City, you have to be perfect with it. You cannot be sloppy. Newcastle have just not been able to contain their composure. They got the ball off City, and they're overly excited. They don't know what to do with it. They pass it into an area, and City just cut it out. So many times it's happened in this game. It's so frustrating to watch at times when Newcastle, they're doing the same thing over and over again. They they win the ball back off City, and they just can't do anything with it. I'm not saying they've been terrible or they've been awful. I mean, it's Manchester City. A lot of teams will struggle to do this, but Newcastle have the ability. We've seen it on a few occasions tonight where they have been able to get into spaces against City and cause them problems, but not often enough. Alvarez finds Foden on the edge. Here's Phil Foden to wrap it up. Blocked. And out for a City throw on the right hand side. That would have been it if Phil Foden had found the net from there. It was Julian Alvarez drove it into the Newcastle half. Found Phil Foden just on the edge. Opened up his left foot, and it ended up hitting one of the Newcastle defenders and going out for a throw in on the right hand side. Walker. Rodri. That's out of play from Rodri. Very rare that we see City give the ball away from those types of positions. Unforced errors, but with just over 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go before any additional time, Newcastle had this throw in. They have the ball with Trippier. Longstaff. Longstaff is... I'm sorry, just no. It's a poor ball by Longstaff again. Haaland. Haaland to Foden. Foden running through! Just wide. The angle was all against him. It was a narrow angle against Nick Pope for Phil Foden. It's a lovely ball by Erling Haaland. Right, beautifully weighted ball, and Foden has to just try and find the finish from that tight angle. Ends up, I think it hit the leg of Nick Pope. He's trying to get a corner on the left hand side. Last minute of the 90. Still 1-0. Grealish over to take this corner for City on the left-hand side. What can they do? What can they find from this set piece? Jack Grealish readying to take the corner, right-footed, fizzed corner, right across out to Alvarez on the edge of the area and whipped in into the hands of Nick Pope. Here's Dan Burn trying to find the run of Wilson out behind the City defence, but Wilson was offside, so the flag goes up. And we have just surpassed the 90 minutes, so we will find out how many minutes of additional time we will have. And the broadcaster here in the UK has just named Phil Foden as player of the match. I think it will be hard to argue against that. Phil Foden has been absolutely sensational tonight. Sensational. I think he's been wonderful. So, really, really good. And we will have 5 additional minutes at the end of this half then. So 5 additional minutes. 5 more minutes for City to hold on to this 1-goal lead, and 5 more minutes for Newcastle to try and find an equaliser. Here's Kyle Walker. Cuts it back to Kovacic. Now Rodri. Into Akanji. Out on the right hand side is Kyle Walker. Diaz to Rodri. So they have the possession with Foden. Akanji. City just trying to run down the clock with their cool, calm, collected passing. The control. They haven't looked vulnerable without Kevin De Bruyne tonight, and that's good news for City fans. The fact that they've still been able to dominate this game without the likes of Kevin De Bruyne in this side. No Bernardo Silva either. Of course, was ruled out through illness in midweek. I think that's similar this week, or this weekend, that Bernardo Silva isn't involved. It's a foul given away there by Bruno Guimaraes. So it'll be a free kick to Manchester City. Last 3 minutes, they're running out of time to have a dramatic end to this one, Newcastle, if they're going to get anything out of their second game of the season. And if Man City do get the 3 points, it will be a massive set of 3 points against a side that are a tough team to come up against. Kovacic finds it to Grealish, and that ball will come off the Newcastle defender Kieran Trippier and go out for the throw into Manchester City on the left hand side. Vardiol, Grealish, Haaland in the corner flag, trying to frustrate teams, and Erling Haaland, you see this all the time for Erling Haaland, getting so much joy out of getting corners from defenders, holding it at the corner flag and winning the corner. Grealish and Haaland over at this left-hand sided corner. I'm sure they'll not whip it in. They'll just keep it in that corner and try and win another corner. But all that battling, City have the possession. Haaland, Rodri, over the top for Foden to chase, but Newcastle have defenders across and dealing with the ball as it goes behind for a goal kick. Last minute of the 95 we are approaching. Last chance probably for Newcastle to get anywhere near the City box, even to have any sort of chance at snatching something here at the Etihad. Looks very unlikely, but you never know. City will get the throw in. Certainly running out of time. Pep Guardiola making sure his players keep to the rhythm till the very final whistle. Last 30 seconds surely. Ball's fired forward. Edison at the back here. Fires it into the skies. Will give Newcastle the chance for a throw in here in a high up area. Maybe there is time for one more chance. Trippier with a throw in. To Cher. Guimaraes. Trippier, they have to get a ball near the box. The time is running out. Botman. Out to the left. Is there time for one more chance? No, there isn't. The 95 minutes is complete. The final whistle goes and Manchester City make it 2 wins from 2 to start the new season. They are the treble winners, the champions, and they are off to a perfect start. 6 points from 6, 4 goals scored, none conceded, 2 wins from 2, and a trophy to go with it as well in the Super Cup in midweek. Not the most amazing performance tonight from Manchester City, but work done indeed. The goal from Julian Alvarez of top class in that first half separated the two teams. Newcastle head back to the tune with absolutely nothing. Eddie Howe's team struggled here last season. They were a bit closer this season, but same. Not a single point to show for it. Full-time score from the Etihad. It's Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 0.